Hello everybody, welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. How are you all doing today? Let me just get that volume turned down for a second. We've got yet another action-packed week for everyone today. We've got the button-up shirt. We're looking smart. We're looking fresh. Yeah, what a week last week was. Let's take a quick look at the league table over here. So obviously last week, Bulu Boys advancing to that 3-0 record after 2-0ing the Newcastle Thunduruss. Big week for everyone. It's incredibly close. There's a lot of potential this week for a couple teams to be sharing the record. Obviously, our Bulu Boys going to get to that 4-0 record. Aurora Articuno going to get their first win. It could go either way. We've got that another top versus bottom clash. Obviously, Bulu Boys are Articuno. We've got a top of the table clash once again between the Long Island Goomys and Miami Heat. Someone's going 3-1, someone's going 2-2. And the rest of the matches, we've got Torstar Belgrade versus Dogsy Shadow Kings and Newcastle Thunderous versus Inglorious Surfers. But we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight into the first game. And we've got an absolute bounce on for you. We've got Dogsy Shadow Kings versus Wheels Torstar Belgrade. Torstar Belgrade coming off of 2 wins in a row. 2 victories. Wheel obviously lost the week 1 versus Silly's Long Island Goomys, but they've made one hell of a comeback. Much in thanks to Golisopod. What a Pokemon. And again last week, toppling the beast that is Latvian. Some great plays with the Serena and the Dragapult securing that win. Could we maybe see that Dragapult Colossal Weakness Policy Steam Engine line up today? It's entirely possible. You know, he might, choose to run that against Dogsy's Shadow Kings today. Obviously that G-Max Butterfree is looking kind of weak leading up into that matchup. Maybe Dogsy goes with the Politoed, Poliwell lineup that we saw him employ against the Bulu Boys. That's maybe your best course of action to stop that Colossal doing too much work. But obviously you've also got Excadrill on that side of Shadow Kings. And maybe that Galarian Weezing comes out, that Neutralizing Gas puts an instant stop that Steam Engine, and okay, yes, the weakness policy goes up, but, you're at least stopping the Colossal from getting too fast, and Colossal's base speed is pretty slow. So without further ado, we'll get straight into this game 1. It's a very exciting time. Let's hop straight in. All right, here we go, boys. There you go. There's that Dragapult Colossal as we expected from the side of Weo. Indeedy Slurpuff though on the line starting off from Dogsy. Are we going to see that Steam Engine activation? He knows that there's no Weezing now on the side of Dogsy. And, he can activate that Steam Engine. Presumably that weakness policy as well. It could get straight on there. Obviously, Slurpuff is going to get that speed buff from Unburden. And it's used that Psychic Seed to give it that Spadef boost, which is going to make it handle that Colossal a little bit better. Obviously, we saw last time Dogsy used Indeedee, it did have that Quick Claw. So could you maybe employ that Quick Claw play? And get it off. Dazzling comes out. It doesn't quite take out the Dragapult. Dragapult uses a Surf. Super effective move. Goes off against Colossal. There's the speed buff, but no weakness policy. No weakness policy inside the Colossal. Volcalift doesn't quite take out Indeedee. Expanding Force takes out the Dragapult though, and that is advantage Dogsy. A great start from Dogsy there. And in comes Hawlucha. It has its own Unburden in Psychic Seed. Hawlucha is going to be at least over 200 base speed now, and has the Spadef boost to sort of manage that Slurpuff and Indeedee, both obviously special attackers. Colossal goes after the Hawlucha. Ironhead doesn't quite take out the Slurpuff, but gets the flinch. Max Blade comes out, that takes out the Slurpuff, so that's at least 1 apiece now. And Expanding Force comes out, Hawlucha just about hanging on there, and the Volcalift taking out the Indeedee, and it is now a 3 versus 2. On the side of Weo, advantage to Weo over Dogsy. Mienshao and Excadrill come out though. That Hawlucha and Colossal looking really low health. They're in a bit of a spot here, but they've both got that speed buff over the Excadrill and Mienshao. If they can just take both out, they're looking pretty solid here. And obviously you're getting that Volcalift chip damage if nothing else. So the Psychic Terrain, as we say, is still up. So that's going to stop any priority moves going out. So there'll be no fake out on the side of Mienshao. Mienshao Dynamaxes though. We saw him use this against Bulu Boys. Excadrill comes in with the Protect. Brave Bird comes out from the Hawlucha. Mienshao just about living. Hawlucha dying to the recoil. Max Flare comes out from the Colossal. Excadrill lives that because of the Protect, takes down about half HP. Max Knuckle from the Mienshao though. The Colossal is gone. It's out of there. And what is Weo's final Pokemon here? What's he got to do with the extra? It's Seismitoad. Could we maybe see an earthquake from Seismitoad on that Mienshao and extra drill that would take them out? But is Seismitoad going to be faster? That's the important question here. What can Mienshao and extra drill do? I mean, as long as he's faster, then, you know, Dogsy's in a great position here. But, you know, is Seismitoad... Obviously, Seismitoad doesn't have that swift swim ability going on right here. Max Knuckle comes out. Seismitoad just about lives that. Is it going to go next? Oh, there's the brick break. Seismitoad goes down. That is a 1-0 to Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Great start, stopping that steam engine going off, but no weakness policy on the side of Colossal. That could be really huge. Same lineup for again from Dogsy. Slurpuff indeed, he comes out. The Psychic Terrain goes up, gets the Spadef boost on the Slurpuff, and we see the same lineup from Wio as well. That Dragon Bolt Colossal coming out again. Are we going to maybe see him try the Surf play again? Could we see it? Obviously, it didn't quite work out with them last time. The Dazzling Gleam Expanding Force just doing enough to take out the Dragon Bolt. And obviously with no weakness policy on this, nothing second. Colossal goes big, it takes out G-Max. Dazzling Gleam comes out, Dragon Bolt goes down at about 40% HP. U-turn though from the Dragon Bolt, takes Indeedee down with Sash. That's going to be big. Dragon Bolt now gets to switch out. In comes Seismitoad. Expanding Force comes out, Seismitoad takes a big chunk of damage, so does Colossal. Volcalift comes out onto Slurpuff. Indeedee's going to go down that Volcalift damage, and Slurpuff takes a bit of hit for its troubles as well from the Volcalift. Those stones really, really big in this game, and that chip damage could really be very good in this scenario. Out comes the Butterfree though, switching up the back lineup from Dogsy. That Butterfree now, you're going to expect us to get the G-Max, and we've seen it use that Befuddle to its advantage before, and this could really turn the game. You know, it depends how the RNG goes. Obviously, you don't like to mention RNG too much, but there is that 1 in 4 chance that you could get a sleep paralysis, a poison, you know, potentially a burn. Not that we've ever seen that, but obviously last week, Dogsy Shadow Kings were able to get the double sleep on Gus's Lapras and Whimsicott, and that ended up being really, really huge. What's the play here? What can Seismitoad do? It's going to be slower than that Slurpuff, so it's in a bit of a spot. Butterfree goes big. Dazzling Gleam comes out. Seismitoad just about hangs on. Colossal does a bit of shit damage. Liquidation comes out, takes out that Slurpuff. Seismitoad also goes down though. That's obviously Life Orb. The Befuddle comes out. Critical hit. It gets the power on the Colossal. Volcanic comes out. It doesn't quite take out the Butterfree though. That Butterfree's obviously quite special defensively, quite bulky. You would have expected the Volcalift just to Oko that Butterfree, but no, it just hangs on. And what's Rio got in the back here to employ here? Says it's now looking like a 3v2. It's advantage Rio once again. Obviously, Butterfree is still out. It could still Befuddle again and potentially get to sleep. Out comes Mienshao, and out comes Dragon Bolt. What can Dragon Bolt here? It's the Psychic Terrain's up as said, so no Fake Out can go out from the Mienshao. Obviously, you wouldn't want to here. He's got a Ghost type and a G-Max here, but you know, regardless of that, it is going to put a stop to that. Who's going to go for Dragon Bolt's obviously going to be the fastest on the field here, but what's it good? Psychic Founds here, takes out the Mienshao, Oko the Mienshao. That Butterfree is now all on its own. Dragon Bolt goes down, out comes Volcalift again, Butterfree goes down. That is game 2, where we are tied 1 apiece. What a hell of a game. We are playing that much, much better this time round. That U-turn coming out from the Dragon Bolt really turning the game on its head. Don't think Dogsy was prepared for that. And out comes the same lineups again. Slurpuff, Indeedee, Dragon Bolt, Colossal. Are we going to see a rinse and repeat here? Is Dragon Bolt going to go for that U-turn and just take Indeedee down with Sash? And, you know, you've got to think the Volcalift's going to be able to do enough damage, chip damage to you know, give that advantage to Wio. You know, you're going to see the Dazzling Gleam on the side of Slurpuff, you would expect here, and again Expanding Force on the side of Indeedee, which if Dragon Bolt's not able to stop that, you've got to think Wio's got to be U-turning here again. You know, it's Indeedee's going to go down with Sash, fair enough, but you know, you're at least going to ensure that Colossal gets an attack off and is able to take out, and Dragon Bolt then is not going to take an Expanding Force. Dazzling Gleam comes out, takes Dragon Bolt down to the 40% health again. Psychic Founds though this time for Dragon Bolt. That is, you've got to expect is a misclick from Wio. No U-turn, and Volcanic comes out in the Slurpuff, but oh no. Psychic Founds on the Psychic normal type on Indeedee's not going to do enough. Duraludon this time though on the side of Wio. Obviously there's still time to bring this back, it's not all over. It's not over until the fat lady sings. Colossal still has his G-Max up, you know, that Volcalift chip damage is coming out. Duraludon has been running Scarf in the past for Rio, but will we see it again just to ensure it's faster? Obviously, Duraludon's got a good range of moves. It is Steel Dragon type. You know, you could see maybe a Flash Cannon come out, take out that Slurp buff. Potentially some sort of Dragon move, you know, breaking swipes, you know, maybe the lower the attack. Dazzling Gleam comes out though. Duraludon Colossal both his Dark Pulse comes out. That's the Indeedee gone, and out comes Max Flare. That's gonna take out the Slurp buff, and now it's advantage Rio once again. You know, he's taken he's taken that, you know, that misplay from the start, and he's turned it to his advantage. So what's Dogsy got in the back now? Are we gonna see that extra Mienshao again, or is that Butterfree gonna? It's the extra Mienshao. Double again now. Is Mienshao going to go for the D-Max again, or do you think we see it from the Excadrill? Or is the Excadrill's going to have that Max Quake, which is going to do the super effective damage to Colossal? And, you know, it could even take out Duraludon. Duraludon obviously also weak to ground moves, so Colossal and Duraludon are in a bit of a spot if they can't take out one or the other here. If Dogsy can ensure he at least moves first though, you know, he could at least take one up. But then Duraludon is running Scarf, so what can he do here? What can he make sure that he takes something out? Mienshao goes to the Dynamax. Protect comes out from the Excadrill. Max Guard from the Colossal. That's big. Dark Pulse comes out. It hits the Excadrill with Protect. Max Knuckle onto the Duraludon. What a read from Dogsy there. Duraludon goes down. It is now a 2v2 once again in this game 3. What a game we've got on our hands here. Hawlucha comes out though now. It gets the Psychic Seed. It's got that embed and it gets the speed buff. The advantage is in Wheel here. If that Hawlucha can maybe Brave Bird again, will it take Mienshao out? Obviously he's going to take that recoil damage from the Brave Bird, but you know, at least as long as he gets himself into that position to be in an advantage, he's in a good spot. You know, this could go either way though, depending on this next turn. If we maybe see a Max Guard from the Mienshao and you know, some sort of a Max Quake or a Rock Slide, not a Max Quake, sorry, a High Horsepower or a Rock Slide from Excadrill. Obviously, he has that attack buff, which is so it's going to be doing just even more damage than it needed to. You know, that Excadrill's obviously already got that big attack stat, and then Mienshao helping him out there with the Max Knuckle. What are we going to see here? What have they both got in their locker? Both patiently taking the time deciding what to do. Obviously Dogsy knows that Hawlucha. Brave Bird comes out, the Mienshao is down, the Dynamax is gone, Hawlucha down to about half HP. Poison Jab comes out and it takes out the Hawlucha. It's a 1v1 but Fire Blast missed! Oh no! You've got to think that Fire Blast hits and that's Excadrill's day is over and Rio gets the win. Oh! Fire Blast missing, that is an 85%. But Brick Break comes out and takes out the Colossal, and Dogsy is going to take the game. Both moving to a 2-2 record. Oh! Wow. That was some fast-paced, high-intensity action. 1v1 at the end there, being decided by a miss. You've got to think that that's a misclick. You know, on the side of Rio. Even if you're predicting a switch there, you know, the U-turn's the safer play there. Is Rio gonna live to regret that play? You've got to think. But Dogsy now with 2 wins in a row. Rio not able to continue that good form that he had going into that game. That's a big shame. But now both on 2-2 record. That midfield battle is now shaping up very excitedly. But we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get into our game 2. And we've got a good game on our hands. We've got Newcastle Thunderous versus Inglorious Surfers. Dave coming off the back of 2 losses in a row. Obviously made that great start week 1, 2-0 Dogsy. But losses have followed to Latvian and Matt Starr's Bulu Boys. You know, he's brought the Charizard 2 weeks in a row now. Do we potentially see that again? Obviously both teams here are going to be running that Trick Room setup. So could we maybe see some speed control battles here? Hang on now, let me just get that music. It's a little bit loud. Could we see some speed control battles here? You know, you might see a Trick Room go up against a Trick Room. Obviously last week as well brought that Ferrothorn, can do some of that stall play, get the Stealth Rock up on the Leech Seed. That could be quite big in this game. Obviously Azumarill did big damage as well last week, running that, it can obviously run that huge power. And we saw Aegislash make its grand return last week. It wasn't as effective as it was week 1, but you know, it matches up pretty well against Aaron's Inglorious Surfers. Obviously, Aaron last week getting that first win of the season, a huge win for him against top of the league, Silly. That Gmax Hatterene doing a lot of work, that it really exploited that fairy type weakness on Silly's side. Do we see that come out again? Obviously, we also saw Bolton make his first appearance for Aaron. Is running that support Bolton with the charm, the eerie impulse, can drop an attack and a special attack. Okay, it's more than likely going to go down. It's not particularly spongy, is Bolton, but if it could just get an attack drop, it's done its job. We also saw Cloyster make his first appearance for Aaron last week and proved to be very, very effective against Silly's team. So potentially, do we see that come out? Both times Aaron's brought the Indeedee or the Amoongus, the redirection, it just hasn't really worked in his favour. So do we maybe see it again, considering that there's, some bug type there on Dave's side and, Charizard running the fire moves for Amoongus, you've got to think that maybe he doesn't run it, but you never know. We could see something surprising. Scrafty as well, also doing big work last week, getting those intims off. Whether that's going to work against Dave's special attacks, focus side, who knows. But we'll waste no less time. We'll get straight into this game too. And here we go then. So there's the Rotten Frost on the side of Aaron, which is surprised, but the Cloyster and Bolton are out. Ribombee lines up on the side of Dave, and there's Charizard as well. Ribombee we haven't seen, obviously, since that Week 2 game against Latvian. And Aaron leads out with the Scrafty and Bolton is immediately going to try and get those attack and special attack drops. That Bolton's going to be running faster, as we said, both teams running in Trick Room, but is it going to depend on, have they maybe spec'd for the speed drops? Have they maybe made their team slower or faster to make sure they work inside, outside track? Remember, Ribombee uses the Sunny Day. Eerie Impulse comes out from the side of Bolton, gets special attack from the Gmax Wildfire, takes Bolton down with Sash. Fire Punch comes out from Scrafty, takes Ribombee down with Sash. That Wildfire, though, is going to take out Bolton. Solar Power on the side of Charizard is going to give that, some of that HP back. And that is advantage Dave. A great turn there, but that special attack drop could be really huge on the side of Dave. That's as much as, it's a shame for Bolton to go down, it's done its job. It's got an attack and special attack drop on the side of Dave's Gmax. Is that going to be enough to stall out the Gmax? Is that going to put a stop to it? What's Aaron going to employ now to go up against this? Out comes the Cloyster, and that's going to be quite scary for Dave. Obviously, both Ribombee and Charizard are going to be weak to those attacks, and Scrafty, it's got that Fire Punch there. It can take out the Ribombee in that position. Is it going to be? You would have thought there would have been a fake out in that situation. I'm not going to lie. Scrafty does typically employ that fake out, but no fake out on the side of Aaron Scrafty. What's Cloyster got in its back pocket? Obviously, we saw Life Dew come out from last week. Wildfire comes out though, the Helping Hand, and that is Scrafty gone. The Helping Hand just doing enough, making sure it does enough damage to Scrafty. Cloyster using the Shell Smash and the White Herb, so it's got the double attack, double a special attack, and double speed. Out comes Hatterene. Is this going to be where Aaron employs the Gmax on the Hatterene? Maybe get some of those confusions off. Is it going to be able to live some of those Gmax attacks though from Charizard? No Mons down on the side of Dave. And it's very much advantage Dave at this point, 4v2. Gmax comes out from the Hatterene. Ribombee's still sitting up. Ribombee gets the Ally Switch though. That is huge. Stops that ice move hitting the Ribombee. Ribombee stays in. Cloyster goes down to the Max Overgrowth. Ribombee now going down to that Gmax move from Hatterene. Does get the confusion off on the Charizard. Obviously, there is a percentage chance that Charizard gets confused. Out comes Ferrothorn though. Hatterene has been running that Mystical Fire, which would be Max Fire and G-Max move, so Ferrothorn's maybe in a bit of a spot here. Charizard uses the Fire Blast, doesn't do very much to Hatterene. Max Flare comes out, as we expected. Ferrothorn goes down that Sun-boosted Fire move, and it is now 2v1. Hatterene just about hanging on. Obviously, that G-Max has now gone down for Dave as well. Out comes Aegislash though, and you've got to think this is going to be running a Steel move to take out that Hatterene. It's going to be faster as well, that Aegislash works out very much outside of Trick Room. No Trick Room in this first game. Do we maybe see it in the later games? Who knows? But this is looking like a pretty good position for Dave, as long as he can ensure that he goes before that Hatterene. Oh, the Charizard heads off in the confusion though. Out comes Shadow Ball though from Aegislash, takes out that Hatterene. Obviously Psychic Fairy type Hatterene, and that is 1-0 to Dave, taking that game one. Pretty clean stuff, to be honest. In the end, Hatterene's Gmax doing a little bit of damage in the end there, but not enough to to get Aaron back in it. And we see Hatterene Bolton lead from this time from Aaron, and Ribombi Aegislash on the side of Dave. Is that a good read on the side of Dave? I'd say so. He's read that, you know, Aaron's going to want to get the Hatterene in. And, you know, that Ribombi did a lot of work in that game one. You know, it lasted a lot longer than you would have expected. You know, it went down with Sash and managed to stick around for at least another 3 turns. So that ally switch play from Dave really coming in big. Aegislash goes that D-Max. That means there's no Charizard on the back. Helping Hand comes out from Ribombi. Fire Fan comes out on the side of Bolton. Gets the burn. Aegislash goes the burn, the Blade Form. Gets the Max Steel Spike up. The Hatterene lives that through the Protect. Gets that defense buff though, but that burn is out on the Aegislash though. Aegislash is a special attacker, but you know, it's going to be doing that burn chip damage. It's got that defense buff as well. Not that there's too many attackers on the side of Aaron, but you know, it's always nice to have. What has Aaron got in his locker though now? Can he maybe G-Max that Hatterene? Oh, he swaps out. Cloyster comes in. Helping Hand comes out from the Ribombi again. Eerie Impulse on the side of Bolton, completely stalling out the Aegislash. Max Phantasm comes out, gets the defense drop, but that's going to do absolutely nothing. Competitive on the side of Bolton though, gives you that special attack boost. Whitehair returning Cloyster stats to normal. And that Aegislash is completely walled at this point, you know. That's a great Eerie Impulse play on the side of Aaron. You know, as he said, he's got the burn, he's got the special attack drop. Helping Hand comes out again, Ribombi trying to do a bit more. Eerie Impulse again drops that special attack further. Max Phantasm though does take Bolton down with Sash. It is going to get the competitive boost, but you know, I don't think the Bolton's really out to do very much damage. Shell Smash comes out from Cloyster. Obviously the Whitehab's already used that defense and special defense drop on Cloyster. Could end up being quite big. Is now going to be much faster and has got that special attack boost. You know, can it do a little bit more work this time? Obviously last game it went straight down to that max overgrowth from the Charizard. Aegislash's Dynamax is over. It's completely walled at this point. You know, as I said, its attack, its special attack completely dropped down. It can't really do a lot in that spot. I mean, it still did do quite a bit of damage to Bolton. Pollen Puff comes out though on the side of Ribombi. Cloyster just about living that. Comes out with a Life Dew, gets Bolton itself back up to a bit of damage. Fire Fan comes out on the side of Bolton and gets the flinch. The burn takes Aegislash out. That's a huge flinch. That could be really big for this game. And that is advantage Aaron. Could Aaron be about to make his glorious comeback? You know, he's got that Life Dew on the side of Cloyster, which is always going to go first with that speed buff now. Cloyster's going to keep himself thinking, but out comes Mamoswine. This is the first time we've really seen Mamoswine used on the side of Dave. And it's, you know, Mamoswine is a speedy Pokemon. It's very, very bulky. He's got a pretty high attack stat. If he's running that thick fat, could be quicker. The Helping Hand comes out from Ribombi. Ice Shard doesn't quite do enough from Ribombi. Earthquake comes out, takes out both Cloyster and Bolton. Does a bit of damage to Ribombi, but that's a great turn from Dave. Taking out 2 Mons in one go. The Intim goes out from the Scrafty. Does drop that Mamoswine's attack now. But Hatterene is not looking in a great spot, you know, it's on quite low health. Obviously, Aaron still yet uses D-Max or G-Max, so the Hatterene is going to be making its G-Max, I would think, this time. But it's very much advantage Dave. It's just really do. Protect comes out on the side of Hatterene. Earthquake comes out on the side of Mamoswine, does about 30% damage to Scrafty. Pollen Puffs comes out on the side of Ribombi, taking Hatterene down. Then Fire Punch hits into Mamoswine. Mamoswine pretty much tanks that. You've got to think there's maybe that thick fat on the side of Mamoswine. And it just completely bulks that attack. Scrafty not doing anywhere near enough and doesn't get the burn. Out comes Hatterene's G-Max. And Helping Hand on the side of Ribombi. Earthquake comes out and that takes out both Hatterene and Scrafty, and that is the game. That's it. It's all done. Mamoswine doing some great work in the late game there, and Dave gets the 2-0 victory. You know, great stuff from the side of Dave. He must be absolutely over the moon with that, you know, coming off the back of 2 losses. He really needed that win. He dropped down to, you know, the bottom half. But, you know, Aaron, very unfortunate on the side of Aaron, you know, that play in the first game, that ally switch play. You know, Dave was already in a pretty good spot, but it worked very much in his favour. We're now going to try and jump in an interview with Dave. Let me just drop him a message here. Oh, I've spelled that all wrong. I got a voice call started up with him. We'll jump into that interview screen. Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing? First of all, congratulations on your win.
Yeah, let's go.
That must feel really good to get that win after those 2 straight losses.
Yeah. You don't realise how much it knocks you if you get me.
Yeah.
I came off obviously first week I was like on cloud 9.
You're buzzing, yeah.
And then I got beat off a lot and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I came up against you. I was like, you know what? I'm feeling it this week. And then you put me in my place. I was like, look, I need to do something this week, even if I get beat, but at least
win a game.
Put a decent performance in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did 2-0.
The 2-0. Yeah, the first. So that's not only the first one since week 1, but that's another 2-0 on your side. That's going to be big for sort of the game match difference. So obviously both teams have typically been running that trick room, but we didn't see it sort of used once. Was that something you were sort of conscious of, or was it sort of like you just sort of playing by player, waiting to see what Aaron did in terms of speed control?
No, I didn't have it. Did I bring Dust Club? No, even my Dust Clubs didn't have trick room on it.
You didn't run trick room on it at all.
Wow. No, I spec'd Charizard Ribombi to be max speed.
Right.
And then I still spec'd everyone else to be active in trick room, so they were all minus speed natures and stuff, just in case he brought it. To be honest, my thinking was, if I'll take them two because they pair with each other really well.
Yes. Yeah.
I think if I send them turn 1, they'll just do hella damage, and I'll have everyone else for if he brings trick room. Ribombi can still, helping hand and stuff like that, like on the
obviously gets the priority regardless with helping hand. Yeah.
So I thought, ideally, he would set it up, and I would just all-out attack whilst he spent the first turn
setting up. Yeah. You've seen that happen with Aaron a lot. He's typically tries to get the trick room set up turn 1, and usually his trick room setter dies that turn 1. So I think he was trying to play it a bit more patiently, but
Well, I imagine he had the similar thought of maybe he's going to set it up.
Yeah.
Until Ribombi Charizard came out first turn, and then I'd have been like, what?
Started panicking.
Get that sunny day up and start burning folks.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I was surprised to see the sunny day, but that did a lot of work. Even though the Eerie Impulse came out, the helping hand and sunny day, Charizard was just absolutely running house.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, he had fire moves on every single one of his mons, so it also kind of helped him a little bit.
Yeah, it obviously helped that Hatterene late game 1, but
believe it or not, it came from the fact that I was frustrated that Charizard's Wildfire didn't set the sun up.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
That doesn't make sense to me. Like all other Max Fire moves set the. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna Ribombi outsped every single one of his mons. I was like, I'm gonna go for it. Turn 1. Just put the power of, because it's obviously Charizard was solar
power as well.
In the sun.
So you get
it was Life Orb. I don't know. I can't remember. So it was literally just there to blow fools away. And it certainly did that.
It did a lot. Yeah. Talk to me about that ally switch play though. Obviously, he was aiming to take out the Ribombi with the Cloyster, and you just went nope.
Yeah, I expected him to double into the Charizard.
Oh really?
I think he smited the Charizard and ice sharded the Ribombi.
Yeah.
Which then flipped it. So Ribombi was going down.
Anyway. Yeah, Ribombi was gonna take a hit, but you were making sure that you were covering bases.
I guess he was trying to ice shard the Ribombi to stop the helping hand going off.
Yeah.
Unless maybe it would have outsped it anyway, but stops the helping hand and then gets the confusion on the Charizard maybe.
Well, Cloyster had the Shell Smash, so it was going to be very fast.
Oh, so it was going to outspeed.
Yeah. So it would.
So I thought even if it was just to whatever he was planning, just throw it off a little bit. Ribombi wasn't going to do anything else in that turn. It was ally switch or helping hand.
I mean, I'll be honest. It did more than enough, to be honest. It did
its job, absolutely.
It went down with Sash turn 1 and then just lived for like another 3 turns on 1 HP. It was great.
It's because everyone looks at it and goes, "That thing's not going to hurt me," and they're right. It's not. It's just going to help in hand. It's the other thing all day long.
Yeah, it worked great as a support on that in both games. To be honest, I was very shocked. I was very shocked in that game too. You obviously got the double Eerie Impulse off on the Aegis Slash and the burn, and then a helping hand Max Phantasm still took the Bolton down to its Slash. Yeah. I was very shocked at that.
The Aegis Slash was mixed.
Right. Okay.
It was mixed attacker. So I think that time I went for.
Oh,
I think that was Shadow Snake.
Was it it was a physical attack and move. Oh, okay.
I mean, it was still burn.
Yeah, it was still.
But the helping hand sort of countered the burn.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yeah. And Bolton's not particularly bulky. It's very squishy, right, so it was always going to go down. But yeah, damn, it was a much closer game too for sure. But you just seemed to completely wall him. So obviously, next week you're playing the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Weo with Towards Star Belgrade.
Yeah.
Do you, how are you feeling going into that now? Now you're coming off the back of a win. Obviously, Weo's had that loss this week. Do you think that's going to work in your favour?
Than I would have if I'd have lost again this week.
Yeah.
But looking at the teams, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to think of something clever, I think, because I think naturally his team is just better than mine in quite a lot of areas. I'm not going to say which ones, but
it's very bulky, and obviously you're constantly worrying about the Dragapult Surf into the Colossal. Not only does it set up the weakness policy, it sets up the steam engine, which we didn't see today, but there's always that chance. That mid-table battle is now looking very spicy as well. Obviously, third down to like 6th or 7th, they're all sat on 2 and 2. So like, I mean, obviously we're still only in week 4. There's a lot to go, but it's certainly hotting up.
I must admit, I'm pleased. I don't know if you've gone through your match or not. I'm pleased.
I haven't gone yet.
Okay, I won't say it then. I'm pleased it's not gone like somebody's been absolutely tanked or somebody's absolutely run away with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm happy everyone's getting like dragged together. It's really tightening the table up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like obviously last week we saw Silly lose out to Aaron, so Aaron could have potentially went with no wins. Whether Gus will be able to turn it around and get the win against me later on, we'll have to wait and see. But if he does get the win, it's going to make the table very, very close. Everyone's like a win or loss away from each other.
Yeah. We're on what? This is week
4. Week 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah, week 4. So
it's hot enough.
We've got 3 weeks until free agency. Which I think is going to be very. I know a couple of the coaches have talked that they want to make some changes. I know Aaron's spoke. He wants to make some changes. Silly wants to make some changes. So it could be very spicy after week 7. I think the second half of the season is going to be very different.
Yeah, I'm looking at the brought category of everyone's teams, and there's some zeros. So I think there's potential there that people will be trying to offload some of the stuff that they've just not found a use for.
There's a lot of Muns in there that have sort of played pretty much every game, like at the top. Absolutely. And then there's some towards the bottom that have maybe only been brought, for just one match, but they've played all 3 games.
I must admit, I'm expecting Wayos to change. He's already dropped a hint in the chat that double could be going from a brought 0 to a brought 1 or a brought 2.
Yeah, you'll have to watch out.
I'm not banking on it. It's all mind games.
He's trying to get in your head. He tried the same with Dogsy, and look what happened.
Chat shit. Get back.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for the interview. For now, thanks for your time, Dave, and again, congrats on your win. And we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you very much. I'm coming for that title.
All right, I'll see you later, Dave.
See you, dudes.
Bye. All right, my guys. We're gonna get straight into our next game. We have got Long Island Goomys versus Miami Heat. This is a very special game. We've got a top of the table clash essentially. Both coaches on 2-1 record. Both lost their first game last week. Obviously, Goomys losing out at the then bottom of the table, Inglorious Surfers, Aaron, and Miami Heat losing out to Wheels, Toad Star Belgrade. We've seen Silly bring something different pretty much every week. It just shows how flexible his team is. He's got so much on his side that he can bring. So who knows what he brings this week? We haven't really seen that G-Max Airship pretty much since week 1. So does he bring it this week? There's a lot of I'd say there's a lot. There's 3 Firemans on the side of Lat. We've seen Talonflame and Cinderace come most times. We've not really seen that Talco yet, but obviously we've seen a lot of Blastoise, Kangaskhan, Kingler. We saw Pinsir for the first time last week. And we know that Slowbro Galar can do a lot of work. It's obviously he's got 2 different types of speed control in that team. He's got the Tailwind on the side of Talonflame. He's got Trick Room on the side of Slowbro. The same with Silly. He's employed that Tailwind on the side of Fletchling, which honestly has been the MVP of the season so far. The little bird that could is doing so much work. And we obviously know Mashana can run Trick Room under that setting. So this could go either way. This is this could be a very close game. I'm very much expecting a game 3. So let's get straight into it. Miami versus Goomys. Game 1. There's that Dracozolt and the Urshifu is out. Out comes Fletching and Dracozolt though. And Pinsir on Kangaskhan on the side of Lat. Said we've seen that Kangaskhan come out quite a lot. It's quite a speedy mon. It's a very, very bulky mon. And, you know, can run that fake out with the Scrappy. We know how much damage that can do to ghost types. So, obviously, no ghost types really on the side of Silly this week. But there is that Mashana in there. He's obviously expecting maybe the Tailwind to come out. He can maybe run that Trick Room and outdo the Tailwind. Obviously, he has Tailwind on his side as well with Fletching. But what have they both got in here? I will say, this game makes it go at a slow pace. Unfortunately, Latvian was experiencing some internet issues, so was disconnecting quite regularly. So if it does seem like there's a few long pauses, that is why. So I will apologise. But out goes the Kangaskhan. Blastoise comes in. Pinsir goes Dynamax, and so does Drexel. Protect comes out from the Fletching. Max Wormwind in the Pinsir does drop its attack. Gets that Pinsir down to just below here at half HP. Max Wave comes out from the side of Pinsir. Dracozolt is able to live that Max Wave, but they do get the Death boost on the side of Lat. Dracozolt is obviously typically a bulky attacking mon, but you know it's going to be useful, you know, just in case that Pincurchin comes out later on. We know how much work that can do with rising voltage, setting up that electric terrain. What we're going to see on the side of Surrey though now, can he maybe get that Tailwind up just to give him that speed control? Make sure he's going first. We know that Fletchling can it's running that Eviolite, so even though it's just this tiny little bird, it can do a lot of work. It's a very defensively strong Pokemon. And you know, it still gets Gale Wings just like its counterpart Talonflame. So don't count it out. It can do a lot of work as a support mon. It also typically runs Taunt as well. Let's take a sip of my tea there. Kangaskhan comes back in though for the Pinsir. Super effective move because I have Max Lightning up the Blastoise. That's Blastoise gone. Tailwind goes out from the Fletching. That's a pretty bad turn from Latvian. You know, he sacked off his Dynamax with the Pinsir, and, you know, out goes Blastoise. Kangaskhan comes in and doesn't get a move up, but out comes Talonflame now. Is Latvian maybe going to look for his own Tailwind now? Try and do some work there. We've got a father versus son battle here, though, essentially. Fletchling versus Talonflame. Kangaskhan's, as I said, obviously still there on the other side. If Talonflame is able to get that Tailwind, that Kangaskhan is going to be looking very, very speedy. But out comes Pinsir. Pinsir comes out with the Kangaskhan. Talonflame with the Tailwind. Max Lightning comes out on the side of Silly. The Sash on the Talonflame this time though. And Chill Windbeat from the Fletchling. The Fletchling takes out its dad. Talonflame is gone. The Tailwind does go up on the side of Lat. But that's 2 mons down for Latvian now. It's now a 4v2. That's 2 arguable turns on the side of Lat there. You know, I can see what he's trying to do, but you've got to think, was the switching the right idea though? I mean, yes, okay, he's maybe risking sacking him on, but you know, Talonflame ends up going down. You know, it goes down with Sash, but Fletchling's able to do the work there. You know, that the Gale Wings ensuring it goes first anyway. Protect comes out on the side of Dracozolt. Protect on the Fletchling, the double Protect trying to stall that Tailwind, but stops the fake out going out. Most importantly, Rock Slide comes out on the side of Pinsir, and that means that there's no chance of any flinches. It's auto play for that. Silly does only have the 1 turn of Tailwind. Lat does have an extra 10. The electric terrain is still out, so there's obviously there's no chance of any sleeps, and is going to sort of stop any of those ground moves going off on the side of Pinsir. Is going to sort of put a stop to them. As I said, unfortunately this time Latvian was experiencing some disconnects. I will give it to Lat. He battled through his Wi-Fi problems, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. But this is very much looking advantage Silly. Earliest comes out on the side of Dracozolt. Pinsir goes down, and it's just Dual Wing Beat onto the Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is the only one left. Crunch comes out onto the Fletchling. Fletchling is able to just tank that hit, and there's only one more turn of Tailwind on the side of Lat, and it's now a 4v1. Dracozolt protects. Last Resort doesn't go up on the Kangaskhan. Tailwind now comes out. That Tailwind's now gone from Lat. There's 3 turns of Tailwind on the side of Silly, and that is going to be game. Bultbeak comes out. Kangaskhan goes down. Bultbeak comes to getting double damage going first. And that is 1-0 to Silly. What a game 1. Silly playing around that Tailwind and around those swap-ins absolutely brilliantly. Got to hand it to Lat. You know, Lat was trying something there. It almost worked. And, you know, he was trying to stall out Silly's Tailwind. It was a good try, but you know, there's still to play for. We've got another game yet. We could potentially see a game 3. Latvian choosing the Pinsir Clefairy this time. Clefairy potentially running that Follow Me. Dracozolt goes with the Protect. No Dynamax on the side of Silly. Follow Me comes out, and a Taunt comes out on the Clefairy. Maximum comes out on the Pinsir. Dracozolt's going to tank that, but it is going to give them the attack boost on the side of Lat. You know, Pinsir now with that D-Max, as we saw. No more Follow Me's on the side of Clefairy, which could be really, really huge. you know, is unless he's running Moonblast. Obviously, Clef has only really got the one move there. Moonblast obviously isn't going to be great for Dracozolt to take. But Pince is in a very good spot now with that attack buff. So Silly deciding to go for the D-Max. Max Weapon comes out, drops Pinsir back down to neutral attack. Dual Wing Beat comes out on the side of Fletchling. Does a little bit of damage to Pinsir, you know, just enough. Max Weight comes out on the side of Pinsir. Not doing as much, obviously, with that attack drop. Dracozolt living that. Dazzling Gleam comes out. Dracozolt lives the Dazzling Gleam from Clefairy, and Fletchling doesn't really take much damage for his troubles either. That's a really, really confident turn from Silly. You know, you've got to think that two super effective moves on that Dracozolt, you'd expect for it to go down, but it just tanks both hits. And yeah, you know, that Clefairy can only really do the one thing now. It can only really Dazzling Gleam, so it's in a bit of a spot. So what can he do here? What can Latvian do differently here to stop the Clefairy going down? And the Clefairies, it is potentially running Friend Guard, which is going to be very good for on their side. You know, it's not going to go down as easily as it would normally would, but obviously no Follow Me, no Helping Hand on the side of Clefs. It's very much walled at this point. Pinsir obviously still out. You know, Dracozolt is going to have the speed over the Pinsir, but you know, if Dracozolt can maybe get a max airstream up, that would take out the Pinsir, but you've got to think you'd maybe see a max guard on the side of Pinsir just to stop it from going down. Fletchling is not going to be able to do a whole lot on the side of attacks, but it can obviously do a lot of setup. You can maybe set up a Tailwind here. It isn't going to go first. Obviously, Gale Wings only activates at full HP, but we'll wait and see what happens. As you can see there, Latvian has experienced, as we've said, has experienced a lot of disconnects. As said, he's a trooper for playing through it. Got to hand it to him. And what can Silly do here? It's very much even games as we go into turn 3. There's still a lot that could happen. Latvian trying to reconnect to the game just so he can make sure he takes his turn. Max Weapon comes out on the side, drinks like that. Pinsir is down, gets another attack drop. It's not going to really matter on the side Clef. Tailwind goes up on the side of Fletchling. Dazzling Gleam comes out. The Dracozolt does take down, so it's a good trade. But the Tailwind does go up on the side of Silly. That could be really, really huge. But it is 3v3. Pincatcher now comes out, gets that Electric Terrain turret set up. And going against that Blastoise, it is in a very good spot. Obviously, both sides have now used the Dynamax, so there's going to be no max airstreams, max weights, going to be no stat boosts now in that regard. Out goes Clef. Talonflame now comes in, Fletching with the Protect. Fake out onto the Pincatcher, stops that Rising Voltage going up. And that's a very, very safe turn on the side of Lat. You know, no one's taking any damage. He gets the Talonflame in. He's going to be able to set up his own Tailwind now. Or potentially a Taunt we could see on the side of Talonflame. Dual Wing Beat though comes out on the side of Silly. Does a little bit of chip damage to Talonflame. Flare Blitz comes out. Takes a bit of recall damage. And Water Spout is going to take them both out. Water Spout at full health with Blastoise. That's going to do enough. It's now a 1v3. It turned into a 2v2 into a 1v3 with just one turn. Great play from Latvian there. Sucker Punch fails on the side of Sudowoodo. Tailwind comes out on Talonflame. Scald comes out from Blastoise. Sudowoodo just about tanking that. But it's going to go down this next turn. We're gonna go to a tie game. What a 10-5. 10-5, sorry, yeah, I was right the first time. 10-5 from Latvian, able to secure that game when it was 3v3. Great stuff from Blastoise and playing that fake out. And Sucker Punch comes out, Talonflame doesn't quite do it down, Flare Blitz takes it out, and that is one apiece as we go into a game 3. You know, Talonflame does go down from the recoil, but it doesn't so much matter, it's too late at that point. Latvian takes the win, and we're into a game 3. This what a game we've got on our hands again. We called this to be close, but out because of Mishana and Dracozolt, he's maybe expecting that that Talonflame to come out and get a set up the Tailwind. And Kangaskhan Pinsir comes out again from the same sort of lineup we saw game 1 from Latvian. Are we gonna see the Dynamax from Pinsir again and the Dynamax from Dracozolt? Is Dracozolt in enough of a position to maybe run into Trick Room? I would expect it's slower than the Kangaskhan, but is it going to be faster than the Pinsir? So we'll just wait for them to take their turn, as we said. Latvian trying to get reconnected, take his turn here. You can see him disconnecting in the chat there. Maybe gives it's maybe a good and bad thing. Obviously gives them both that extra time to sort of think about what they want to do. Latvian obviously would probably liked to have played without the disconnects, but you know, they're able to play it a little bit more patiently, really think about what they want to do rather than, you know, they know they have that 30-second timer and they're sort of, you know, up against it. We could see a bit more patient plays, but you know, the last 2 games have been so explosive. You've got to think that there's going to be very little stall here. It's going to be just all-out attack. Both players wanting that victory. They're wanting to get that third win on the board. No one wants to go 2-2 here and get dragged into that midfield battle, which, as we spoke about from Dave, is looking very, very, very close. So we'll just wait for them to take their time here. Could we see Drake as well maybe go over that Dynamax, get that Max Quake up, or potentially a Max Lightning? Once he gets that stab in, I would have thought we'll see the Max Wormwood just to get the attack drops on both Kangaskhan and Pinsir. Both physical attackers, both can do a lot of damage. You know, I said Kangaskhan is typically running that fake out, but can run Sucker Punch. And out goes Pinsir. Clefairy comes in. Kangaskhan goes to his Dynamax. No Dynamax on the side, and Silly Mashana protects. Bolt Beat comes out on the side of Drizzle, but it takes Clefairy out. What it all causes Clefairy. Max Strike comes out on the side of Lat. Is going to drop their speed, but that's maybe played right into Silly's hands. You know, if he can, Mashana can live a hit here and just trick room up. That's going to work perfectly on the side of Silly, basically. Pinsir now comes back in, swaps back in. Kangaskhan, as we say, is still big. I don't think anyone was expecting Bolt Beak to take out the Clefairy. Obviously, we know if it moves first, it does get that double damage, but what an unbelievable turn. X-Scissor comes out from the side of Pinsir, takes Mashana down to about half damage. Max Strike comes out, doesn't quite take out the Mashana and gets another speed drop. Aerial Ace on the side of Silly, doesn't quite take out the Pinsir, but Trick Room goes up, and that is huge. That is huge. And now Silly now has full speed control. He knows he can go first before the Pinsir, before the Kangaskhan. Is Kangaskhan maybe going to go for a Max Guard, try and keep itself around on the field a little bit longer, try and just wait that Trick Room out? Obviously, the Kangaskhan is a very, very fast mon. But what it's in a bit of a spot here now if it doesn't Max Guard. I mean, I would thought it would be able to live an attack, but you've got to think that maybe Dracozolt goes to that Max Wormwind, gets an attack drop, and Mashana can maybe do some psychic damage. But comes out with a Yawn, stops that Kangaskhan from doing. It keeps it in there, and the Kangaskhan now has to stay in. It's 2v2. But the Dracozolt goes down, as does the Mashana. But the Pinsir goes down to that Aerial Ace. It is now going to be a 2v2, but that Kangaskhan is going to go to sleep in the next 10. But no, it's not, because in comes Pinkatchin. The Electric Terrain comes out, and that's going to stop the Kangaskhan from going to sleep. That could be really big. Obviously, Silly maybe wasn't expecting both monsters to go down there and thought he could maybe wait another 10 before bringing Pinkatchin in. That could really, really work against him in this position. And can now, obviously, I wouldn't have thought we're going to see a tailwind from Talonflame. He's going to sort of just work in the under speed that he's under. Obviously, we know Pinkatchin is very slow. It's going to work great in that Trick Room. A Rising Voltage comes out on the side of Pinkatchin, and you've got to think Talonflame's in a lot of trouble. Sudowoodo though is not going to enjoy going up against the Kangaskhan. That Kangaskhan is running a close combat or any kind of fighting with Sudowoodo's in a lot of trouble. Pinkatchin now goes with the Dynamax though. He waited the Dynamax out. Brave Bear comes out, doesn't really do a lot of Pinkatchin. Max Lightning into the Talonflame. Talonflame getting that recoil, doesn't go down with Sash, and it managed to live. That Troubleberry though on the side of Kangaskhan. Hammer Arm just not doing enough. Kangaskhan obviously not going to sleep, but that is now a 1v2. It's not looking very good for Lat here. He's up against the Dynamax and a full house with Max Lightning comes out. The Kangaskhan goes down, and that is yet another win for Silly. Lat losing once again, going to that 2-2, and oh, you know, I've got to be honest. I saw the Yawn come out and then Pinkatchin come in, and I really feared for Silly, but he played that absolutely perfectly. You know, waited out to Dynamax, didn't go for it with his Dracozolt, got the Max Lightning out with the Pinkatchin. Maybe Brave Bird was a bold call on the side of Lat. Is obviously going to take it out of its sash, but you know, great games to both players. Both played that absolutely amazingly, and as we said, very, very good patience from Silly, obviously waiting out with Lat having his connection issues. And again, thank you very much to Lat for playing through that. I know a lot of people wouldn't have done that, and you know, what a standout guy. So we're not going to waste any more time. That's another game done. We're down to our final game of the week, and it's a big one. We've got top versus bottom. Bulu Boys versus Aurora Articuno. Bulu Boys sat on that 3-0, Aurora on that 0-3. Obviously, Gus's Aurora losing out to Dogsy's Shadow Kings last week in a very close game. Went to game 3. Gus able to get his first game win of the season so far, but you know, going down to 0-3s. it's stacked against him in this match. Obviously, Matt's Bulu Boys are looking incredibly strong. Had a 2-0 against Aaron, a 2-0 against Dave, and just squeezing through Dogsy Shadow Kings week 2. We've seen Centre Scorch, Diggersby, and Rillaboom doing a lot of work on the side of Matt's Bulu Boys. Centre Scorch currently sat on 10 kills so far. It's putting in the work. We've also seen Heracross come out on the odd occasion. Heracross, with that Moxie or Guts can do a lot of work, getting that attack buff. It's pretty speedy mon as well. Rillaboom as well, obviously we know the grassy glide and the grassy train is very strong. And Diggersby has such a wide move pool, it's very hard to sort of prepare for, very hard to predict. Could we maybe see Torjikis come out this time? We obviously saw it last week against Dave, running that Yarn plays very much to support Torjikis, but could we maybe see a different kind of Torjikis? We might see more of a special attacking Torjikis. We also saw Ice Cube come out against Dogsy, but it didn't really do a lot of work against Dogsy, so I can't see Bulu Boys bringing it. Gus, I will be honest, has pretty much employed the same four mons every game. We've seen that Dusclops, the G-Max Lapras, and a combination of either Vikavolt, Tyranitar, or Whimsicott for that extra support mon. Will he do something differently? I can't really see it, to be honest. I think Gus is trying to stick with it, trying to get that winning formula going. That Lapras is doing a lot of work, it's getting the kills, but just running so much support mons, relying on that Trick Room or the Speaker Drill going up has not really worked in his favour, but we'll waste less time. Let's get straight into our final game of the week. Bulu Boys vs Aurora Articuno. And Centre Scorch Rillaboom leads the line from Matt, and Dusclops Lapras comes out again. You've got to think it's going to be Protect Trick Room on the side of Gus. Is Matt going to go straight for that G-Max and maybe try and hit the Lapras, maybe get it down? Obviously we know Lapras particularly runs that weakness policy. Knockoff comes out from the Rillaboom, gets the crit. Dusclops just about hanging on, and sent Inferno into the Dusclops, takes it out, and that means that Lapras is now stuck in. He can't get any swap outs. It's going to be doing that Sent Inferno chip damage. In comes the Tyranitar, and that is now no speed control on the side of Gus unless that Whimsicott's in the back. Rillaboom is in a very good spot here as well, obviously. Can do a lot of damage to that Lapras, or the Tyranitar can do super effective damage to both, and the same on the side of Centre Scorch. He's going to be running that grass move and a max flutter by as well, as you can see there. Can do damage to both. Does Matt maybe choose to double in on the Lapras, or do we maybe see, he hits both, tries to take out the Tyranitar, tries to do enough damage to the Lapras. Woodhammer comes out on the side of Rillaboom. Lapras gets his Weakness Policy outfit and manages to survive with that G-Max. Max flutter by comes out to Centre Scorch. That is the Tyranitar down. 2 turns in, and we're down to 2 mons on Gus. Max Resonance comes out on the side of Rillaboom. Rillaboom goes down for his troubles. That Lapras, though, down to about 1 HP after that Centre Inferno damage, is not in a great spot. And in comes Heracross here. You've got to think it's going to be running that Brick Break on the Lapras. It's going to go first. That both mons on the side of Gus there running pretty slow. Brick Break comes out, takes out that Lapras. And there's the Santa Inferno. Tesla goes down, the Vikavolt, and that is 3 turns, and game 1 is over. Matt has come flying out of the blocks there. Great start from Matt, and I don't think Gus was at all prepared for that. But here we go again, same lineup from Matt. Matt sticking with it. But in comes 2 support mons, Dusclops and Whimsicott. So Gus has an option for maybe 2 different sides of speed control. Obviously, if Matt maybe chooses to hit one or the other, he can maybe keep them. He can maybe keep them both on the field with that Centre Inferno, but he might just choose to double in just to make sure Gus has at least one goes down. Centre Scorch goes for his G-Max. Fake Out comes to the side of Rillaboom, so that Whimsicott comes in. Centre Inferno comes out. Whimsicott goes down. Dusclops is still going to get that Trick Room up, and that is quite a big problem for Matt. Obviously, that Lapras is going to run great in the Trick Room. We're going to see that Rock Tomb come out from the side of Dusclops to activate that Weakness Policy and get that G-Max up from Lapras. What can Matt do in this position, though? That Rillaboom is going to be looking very, very weak to Lapras, and the same with Centre Scorch. There's a Max Geyser on the side of Lapras, sets up the rain, and then the Vikavolt can do a lot of damage with Thunder or even Max Lightning. Rock Tomb comes out, as we said, activates that Weakness Policy, drops the speed from Lapras, make sure it's going to go fast. Resin comes out, it OHKOs the Rillaboom. Rillaboom goes out once again. Max Overgrowth comes out in the Centre Scorch. The Resonance is going to stop that from doing as much damage. Takes Lapras down to about half HP. Dusclops takes a bit of chip damage from the Centre Inferno, and in comes Heracross. Are we maybe going to see the Brick Break come out on the side of Heracross? Can get that, get those screens gone, and at least Matt's in a bit of a better position. But it's still to play for. It's still 3v3. Protect comes out on the side of Heracross though. Nightshade goes into the Centre Scorch, does a bit of chip damage. Max Geyser comes out. Centre Scotch is running that Paso Berry though, does a bit less damage, but that Centre Inferno is now going to do hardly anything to the Duskups with the rain. The fire move is completely nullified under the rain. And that's a great turn, to be honest. Heracross is running that Gut, as you see with the Flame Orb, gets the burn, is going to get that attack buff. What we're going to see on the side of Centre Scorch though now, it's obviously lost its Gmax. Lapras still has another turn of its Gmax to go. It's very much advantage Gus at this point, I would argue. Obviously, it's got the screen still up. It's going to do a lot less damage. I would have thought we'll see Brick come out the side of Heracross to take it out, but you know what could this Trick Room still up? There's still 2 turns of it to go. You know, Dusclops could keep itself around with the pain split. Centre Scorch are not looking great on 35% HP. Obviously, no fire moves can really do a lot on the side of Matt now with that rain still. Has no way to control the weather, so that could be really, really big on the side of Matt as Gus patiently is deciding what he wants to do, employing this situation. Matt patiently waiting. As you can see there, that Brick Break is lined up against the Lapras. Protect comes out from the Centre Scorch. Pain Split comes out on the side of Dusclops, gives it that health buff. Max 90 goes out on the side of Lapras, doesn't really do enough to the Centre Scorch. Brick Break comes out, the Lapras goes down. It is now a 3v2. What is in the back for Gus? He's got 1 turn of Trick Room left. In comes Vikavolt. Now Vikavolt can probably do enough damage here to take out the Centre Scorch. You've got to think with a Thunder, or maybe a Flying move or a Flash Cannon as we saw him employ last week. So Dusclops sticks around. Obviously it's got that pain split. As long as it sticks in the field, it can set Trick Room up again. Even if Vikavolt manages to hang around for another turn, you know, you see he can set Trick Room up against the next turn. Protect goes out from the Heracross. Nightshade goes into Centre Scorch. Centre Scorch goes down. The Air Slash is prevented by the Protect. It is now a 2v2. A bit more Centre Inferno damage comes out onto the Dusclops. And in comes Torjikis. What has Torjikis got in its locker? What can it do here? Are we gonna? You've got to think it's going to be running that support. You know, the Yawn, Follow Me. Mega Horn comes out. Vikavolt able to love that. Shadow Ball comes out on the Dusclops. Dusclops doesn't quite go down to that. Air Slash comes out, takes out that Heracross, and it is now a 2v1. Rock Tomb was on the side of Torjikis. Torjikis gets the speed drop, which, you know, now Trick Room's gone. That could be really huge just to make sure that the Vikavolt goes first. Is it going to be enough, though? Shadow Ball comes out, takes out the Vikavolt. But there's the pain split on the side of Dusclops. Takes it back up to 60% HP. This is a bad spot for Matt. What can he do here? Yawn comes out. It's under electric terrain, though. Oh, that's got to be a misplay on the side of Matt. Nightshade comes out, takes Torjikis down to 25% HP. You've got to think Dusclops is going to get another kill on its side here and take game number 2 on the side of Gus. That Shadow Ball is just not doing enough. Shadow Ball comes out, it doesn't quite do enough, and there's the Nightshade to tie up the game. Game 2 over and done with. Gus gets another game win on the board. And what a misplay from Matt. The Yawn under the electric terrain. What a wasted time. Gus keeps the winning formula out. Here comes Whimsicott and Dusclops again. Rillaboom, Centre Scorch on the side of Matt. Obviously not changing things up, thinking he can maybe try something differently here. Are we going to maybe see another double up, do we think Matt has learnt his lesson, try and keep them both on the field? Knockout comes out on the side of Rillaboom, takes Rillaboom down, takes Dusclops down to below half HP. Centre Inferno comes out, and the Trick Room comes out on the side of Whimsicott. That Trick Room goes up again, and are we about to see a rinse and repeat performance? You know, that obviously there's no way to set up its weakness policy on the side of Lapras, but the Trick Room goes up. That means the Lapras is always going to go first. I think you're going to see a helping hand potentially on the side of Whimsicott just to make sure it's doing enough damage. Up goes the Gmax of Lapras. Helping hand comes out as we expected. Resonance goes up. That Rillaboom is gone yet again. 3 games in a row, it's gone. Max Flutterby comes out from Centre Scorch, drops the special attack a bit, but doesn't quite do enough. That Whimsicott is now down to below half HP. It is now 3 apiece, but that Trick Room is up for another 3 turns. If Matt can't do something in those 3 turns to stall it out, he's in a very, very bad spot. Out comes Torjikis. Is he going to try for the Yawn again? The Yawn, obviously, no electric drain. Helping hand comes out, but the Max Lightning comes out, and then Torjikis tanks that, but that stops the Yawn from going up. What a great read from Gus. Fantastic read. Centre Inferno comes out, does take out the Whimsicott. It is now a 2v2 advantage to Matt, but that's not a great position to be in. That Gmax obviously ends on the side of Centre Scorch. Out comes Vikavolt. Vikavolt can potentially do a set up a Thunder here. It's got electric terrain. If Lapras can maybe set up a Max Geyser, then it's not only going to be rain boosted, but it's always going to hit. But It's going to have that electric terrain boost, and it's going to do a lot of damage. Protect comes out on the side of Togekiss. Thunder obviously comes out from Tesla. It stops it from going. Max Geyser comes out. Center Scorch just about hangs on, lives that. Flare Blitz comes out, doesn't do as much in the rain, and with the resonance still up there. And that could be really, really, really huge. The rain stuff, that Center Scorch is completely walled. It can't do anything to that big vault. Protect comes out from Center Scorch. Thunder comes into Togekiss. Togekiss is gone. Hydro comes on the side of Lapras. Obviously, Center Scorch hangs on through that Protect. Bit of Center Fair, damage comes out onto the side of Lapras. Out comes Heracross. What can Heracross do here? The Trick Room has gone. It's ended. But can he do enough to that Lapras? You know, is Brick Break going to be strong enough without Moxie? You know, Mega Horn comes out on the Vikavolt. Doesn't do enough. Power Whip comes out on the Lapras. Sets up the weakness policy. That Resonance holding on. Hydro Pump comes out. Takes out the Center Scorch. And Thunder into the Heracross. And that is the unbeaten record gone. Matt losing his first game of the season. Gus getting his first win of the season as well. And that completely swaps things around. That's once again another week where we've seen a top versus bottom matchup. And bottom of the table has managed to pull it out. Great games to Gus. I will say on my side, Gus played that really well. Some great prediction plays. Obviously, the misplay kind of hurt in the two misplays in game 2 really kind of hurt me. But I can't take anything away from Gus. You know, he played that really well. He deserved the win. Congrats to Gus getting his first win of the season. As they said when the Undertaker lost to the WrestleMania, the streak is broken. It's done. We now have no one unbeaten in the league. And that could be really huge for proceedings. Obviously, if Matt goes that 4-0, that it does build that gap to the mid-table. But let's take a look at our league table. Obviously, there's the league table from last week. Here is the updated league table. There you go. Bulu Boys, just to say, hanging on in first place. Tied for record with Long Island Goomys with Silly. Bulu Boys just hanging on in alphabetical order. So, Bulu Boys first. Silly's Long Island Goomys sat there in second. Dave getting that win this week. He's up to third with that another 2-0. That +1 record just leading him very well there. He's up to third. Latvian dropping down to fourth after that loss to Silly, but managing to hang on. Tied for record with Dave's Newcastle Thunderous, but again, alphabetical order, ensuring Dave is up there in third. Weo, after those 2 wins in a row, after that loss to Dogsy, now drops down to 5th place. He's just outside that golden zone of the top 4. Dogsy getting that second win in a week is now tied for a record with Weo, but just -1 record, just keeping him there in 6th. Gus moving off the bottom of the table, now up to 7th, that 1-3 record. Unfortunately, Aaron dropping down to last place. Very unfortunate on the side of Aaron, but you know, he can still take a lot from that game this week. He got that win against Surrey, and you know, anything could happen. If anything, the last 2 weeks have proven that anyone can beat anyone in this league. So we'll take a look at next week's fixtures, shall we? Let me read them off to you. So next week we start off with Inglorious Surface versus Aurora Articuno. Inglorious Surface versus Aurora Articuno. Then another big top of the table clash. Silly's Long Island Goomys taking on the Bulu Boys, both on that 3-1 record. Someone's going 3-2. Someone's going 4-1. Another huge game. Dogsy Shadow Kings taking on Miami Heat. That's two teams on the 2-2 record. Again, someone's going 3-2. Someone's going 2-3. Someone's moving up to that top half of the table. Someone's dropping down. And finally, we've got Newcastle Thunderous versus Toadstar Belgrade. We'll be looking to bounce back after that loss to Dogsy Shadow Kings this week. And Dale will be looking to take that form that he took beating Aaron today to continue that on and keep striding on. Your Dave's up in 3rd place, and that's very, very good for him. So a lot of exciting games again next week. Big news for next week is there will be no live show on the Sunday. The highlights will still be going up on the YouTube next Sunday, but I will be I'm doing a 24-hour live stream next Saturday in aid of the charity Minds. We'll be doing a live commentary, live gameplay of the matches next Saturday. So a lot to look forward to. It's going to be very exciting. And as we said, big games next week. Another first versus second clash, and it's all to play for. If we take another look at the league table, you know, you've got 4 teams on 2-2 record, 2 on 3-1, 2 on 1-3. Honestly, anything could happen. But that is going to do it for this week. I have been your host, Matt Starr. Thank you all very, very much for watching. We will see you next Saturday for a very special live, the British Pokemon League show live stream. And catch the rerun of this on the YouTube page from 6 o'clock tonight. Thank you very much for watching.